Hey Wargamers, MiniGamePainter here. It's a dark and dingy night, but today might be a good day. What is this? What is this? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh, so we're gonna do a Tyranid review today. Probably gonna break it up into a couple different videos, but I'm gonna crack it open and do some notes, do some reading, and bring out just the things on the creaming on the top. So we'll see what it is. Hey Wargamers, this is going to be part one of a series of videos going over the new Tyranids. So we'll see, there's a lot of rumors going around about some good and bad news. So we'll try and keep it positive, and we'll see how it goes. So the first things I want to go over is just the overall observations, and I got my computer right here, so I might be doing back and forth with eyes. So my overall was that there's no spore mine, or spore pod, sorry, and there's no rules for one, so you can't even make your own. So one thing in this book, they have a model for pretty much everything anymore. They even have some old models for some existing characters, which hopefully they come out with a new model. Like for example, old One Eye, they have that old, nasty, ugly Carnifex looking one. So at least you'll get some customization with that one. So the overall, no Spore Pod, no rules for Spore Pod. No Doom and Malantine, no rules for Doom and Malantine, no Parasite and Mortrex, and nothing over Toughness 6. What's the deal? You got Tau got something over Toughness 6, Eldar got something over Toughness 6, nothing. I mean, for being known for the big bugs, no vehicles, like the big, huge bugs that are the size of, I mean, tanks and Vindicators and Land Raiders, that they didn't get anything over Toughness 6. I figured at least one at 7 or 8. At least one, the new big bug that's on a flyer base. I figured that would be at least 6 or 7. Or 7 or 8. But now backing up on a business point of view, I'm kind of shocked that they don't have at least the Spore Pod. The reasoning is that you have all these new monsters, and then you have these new monsters that range in price. You have the really big, what, the Excron is $73. You have the Hive Guard, which is $70. You have the Warriors, $51. And you have, where's the other flyer? And then the other flyer's $80. So just from a business point of view, most of those, except for maybe the Hive Guard and the Warriors, you might buy more than one. But the big bugs, you might only buy one. Or a Flying Hive Tyrant, you might only have one. But if you were to sell a Spore Pod for, let's say, $40, or the same as a Drop Pod, you know, I run 2 or 3 of them, so I'd more likely spend $120 on 3 Spore Pods. Why wouldn't that make good business sense? And especially in 6th edition, where Tyranids can't really walk across the board, Spore Pods is going to be the way to go. So every Tyranid player would have at least 2 Spore Pods. Just from a business standpoint, I don't know why they wouldn't do that. So who knows? They might have their reasoning. With that being said, with the overall portion, Lash Whip gives the holder +3 initiative, nobody else. So before, it used to knock the person down to initiative 1 so that everyone else grouping up used to just go crazy on that person. So this only gives that one person initiative +3. So that's a negative. Then Crushing Claws is strength +1, armor bane, unwielding. Big minus. It used to be D3, which helped tremendously when you did your smash attack. Strength +1, that's nothing. And for the price, let's see what the price is for Crushing Claws. So Crushing Claws is 15 points instead of 25 points. I don't see one, I mean, good against tanks, I get you. But only +1? Couldn't have been like a Power Fist and times it by 2 at minimum? before it gave you more attacks. If it's not giving you more attacks, then you should definitely get double the strength. It's a power fist. It's a crushing claw. Only +1. Well, even if you doubled it on the big guys, it'd still be strength 10, but still. 15 points. I'd rather throw the 15 points into like regeneration or something. With that being said, regeneration is on a 4+ now versus, what was it, like a 5 or a 6. So that is actually something that is worthwhile. Of course, it's extremely expensive like it was before, but you can factor that in now and keep your guys around. So, I mean, regenerations is 30 points. So that is your crushing claws, or your power fist. So instead of just, I wouldn't even worry about crushing claws anymore. I'd just invest that 15 into regeneration, and there you go. The 25 for what that you would have crushing claws before, now you have regeneration for 5 extra points. So regeneration, that was a good one. Get benefit from 2 close combat weapons, and oh, that's right. Scything Talons no longer gives you re-rolls if you have 1 set on 1s, and re-roll to hit if you have 2 sets. They got rid of that completely. Now you get the benefit for +1 of 2-handed close combat weapons in battle if you have 2 sets of close combat weapons. Like a set of Rending Claws and a set of Scything Talons, that's two close combat weapons. So then we move on to Synapse. Oh, by the way, back to that, I'd rather have the rerolls on 1s and on, well, like a Trigon, reroll, like automatic reroll, because he's got 2 sets of Scything Talons. I'd rather have that than 1 extra attack, because you're more than likely to convert more than 1 when hitting him. Synapse, the concept of Synapse is the same. Except the only down part of Synapse is the instinctual behaviors. They went crazy. It's so much more harsh than it used to be. It used to be either you'd freak out and run at something and attack them with like a 1 extra attack, which was actually pretty good, versus the other one where you just you'd run into like the closest terrain and that's it. This one has a number of different ones. First of all, they have, instead of 2 instinctual behaviors, they have 3. They have Lurk, Hunt, and Feed. And then they have a rolling chart where it's just all over the place. So 50% of the time for a Lurk, you just fall back instead of running towards something else. So with your low leadership, so you roll a 6 or you have a 50% chance of falling back automatically, which is kind of stupid. Then a 4 and 5 is the seek cover, as you move slowly in difficult terrain. And you have to take dangerous terrain tests. Yeah, and then you can't assault. Yeah, you can't assault, and it affects your shooting too. So essentially you're just worthlessly running into a building and taking dangerous terrain. And then on a 6, when you run into your cover, you get stealth. That's not that big of a benefit. Then on a hunt, the unit goes to ground unless it's fearless. This is outside of Synapse, by the way. So you go to ground unless you have fearless, within that forces you to the other 50%, 4 and 5. So you can't run. You must shoot instead at the closest enemy within range of the line of sight. If there's no viable target, the team unit can do nothing during the shooting phase. It cannot charge, so can't shoot unless there's something within range, and it can't assault. So that pretty much kills that. And then 6, the unit also gets preferred enemy. So that's not terrible, but... And then on the feed, you get hit the amount of numbered models in the group at the majority strength. Kind of like the fearless. Kind of like the fearless rolls that you had in 5th edition against the Tyranids and Orcs. And then the other one, 5 and 6 for the feed, is in the assault phase, the unit must declare a charge against closest viable enemy unit If it cannot, then it does nothing. And then on a 6 is Rage. So it used to be that you got Rage on feed. Now it's a slim to none chance, or 1 in 6 chance of getting feed. Or Rage, that is. So that's kind of a bummer. So now you're gonna be forced into having more Synapse, which is the more expensive units, as you'll see moving forward, but you'll be forced to have more Synapse creatures. And getting out of Synapse, you're pretty much SOL with your guys, for the most part. Shadow the Warp is now, they restructured it. It's with 12. It's still 12 inches. It -3 to leadership instead of rolling 3d6, which I think might be actually better. I haven't done the math on it, but if you think about it, somebody's like a Marine squad gets within 12 inches of it, and if they have a sergeant, they're 9, so they move down to 6. They have a pretty good chance of actually failing and, you know, being pinned or falling back or whatever it is. So I think that might be better. That will only come with game time. That might actually help, because before, Marines rarely ever fail. This might actually help them fail. So that's a good thing. And the Warlord traits, nothing special. I mean, the rulebook ones weren't anything special anyways. Most of the time I forget to even roll them because they don't, most of the time it's worthless. But Warlord traits, number 1 on the list, and a lot of these have automatically traits with certain HQ characters like the Space Marine Codex. First one is Nature's Bane. At the beginning of each of your movement phases, select a single jungle. There's Lady Mech, by the way. Within 12 inches of the Warlord, it becomes a carnivorous jungle for the rest of the game. Wow. Okay, never mind. For some reason, I thought that was for just 1 turn. So that's actually pretty good. So if you actually if you got this on your Flying Hive Tyrant and you've zoomed forward, beginning of your movement phase. Oh, bummer. So if you flew, you anticipate something in the middle of the table that they're gonna rush for, like if there was a, I don't know, something in there. Anyways, you designate that jungle, and then if your Flying Hive Tyrant is still in the air, you designate another jungle that's on their deployment side that they could have Marines or heavy weapon teams or something like that. So that might actually be beneficial. Just make sure that you have those forest terrain on the board for it to be even do anything. Or maybe designate certain areas as, you know, growth areas instead of forest. Number 2, heightened senses. The Warlord and the Tyranids within 12 inches of it get night vision. To be completely honest, for them being beasts and aliens, they should probably already have night vision, considering that Tau, everyone in Tau got night vision. And, you know, bugs and insects and most other mammals see much better at night than we do. Number 3, Synapse is increased to 18. That's actually pretty good considering that it's much harsher now. And also, one of the psychic abilities is to increase it by 6 too. So you could actually have 24-inch range Synapse, which would be amazing if you could just get that automatically every time. Mind Eater. This is similar to, I want to say, one of the rulebook ones, where you receive 2 victory points for each independent character slain by the Warlord in the challenge. So if you're a Flying Hive Tyrant, you fly, land, rush into a group, and just start challenging everything. You'll most likely win anyway, so that's a pretty easy 2 points unless they decline, and then you just clean up the group. And then number 5, after deployment, 1 piece of terrain in your enemy deployment zone, but not your opponent's, has been purchased, has cover save reduced by 1. So that's the same as the Tech Marine, I think it's called. They add 1, so this just subtracts it. So that could be helpful, especially if there's a building with snipers or something. Not snipers, heavy weapons probably would be better. So instead of a 4 up in the building, they got a 5 up in the building, which is nice. Or if they're in 5 up cover area terrain, now they have a 6 up, which is pretty much not having cover. And then 6, if the Warlord suffers a wound, it gains feel no pain at 5+ at the beginning of its movement phase. Now this one, you can, everywhere in this book, you're gonna feel like they said, well, why don't you give it feel no pain? No, 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 too powerful. And they just kind of jab at the Tyranids. So this should have been just given feel no pain versus it has to be wounded before the next turn. Before the next turn, it gets feel no pain. I think that's pretty ridiculous for being a Warlord trait. If you looked at Eldar and Tau's Warlord traits, they're incredible. So these are so-so. The number one, where you can make the jungle carnivorous, or yeah, jungle. That might actually hurt you in the end. You got 5 turns. You have 5 area forests, all, you know, and that's where usually the relic is or the objectives are. So that could be bad for everybody. So anyways, so those are the Warlord traits. Remember, this is just an overall. The next is the psychic powers. And the psychic powers, first of all, they limit you to only these psychic powers. So there's no more biomancy. So bye-bye to Iron Arm, which was the only thing that really kept the Tyranids going. I think Iron Arm was like the... If you take away Iron Arm, you should have made the bugs toughness 7. Or something like that. Or made it, you know, very difficult for regular Marines to take them down with shooting. So I'm kind of bummed about that one, but staying positive. So here there's their powers. The regular one that you can just, you know, just get no matter what is +6 to Synapse. So that's great. So you can, if you get a shitty one, you can just always have Synapse. If you get the Warlord trait where it's 18 and then add 6, that's awesome. But you have to cast for it, so be careful on getting perils. Number 1, Catalyst, feel no pain, so that's the same one. Is in, and then 2 is Horror, which the let's see, pinning test with -2 leadership, possibly make you handy. -2 leadership, so that would bring a normal Marine squad down to 7, more likely to fail. Onslaught, where you can run and shoot. That one's kind of neat, but that's Eldar. They get that automatically, so on a lot of their guys. So why couldn't we have everyone run and shoot? Or run and assault would have been better. I mean, they're a heavy assault army. They should have been a run and assault. So kind of bummed about that one. The next one is weapon skill and ballistic skill reduced by D3. That's pretty good. Especially if you're about to rush in there. Psychic Scream was 6 inches, 2d6. Oh, that's right. It's basically the Doom of Valentine for the most part. Is you roll 2d6. Wow, it's 2d6 minus leadership. They just killed it, that one. I thought it was the same as Doom. No, 2d6. That can't be right, because that just sounds stupid. Yeah, 2d6 plus 2 for each target unit and subtract their leadership. They suffer that many wounds equal to the result with no armor saves or cover saves allowed. So it's Doom and Malantine, so I don't know. And oh yeah, no leech life. It just wounds. Whoever casts it doesn't get wounds back. Why not? You should be, I mean, that's just ridiculous. That's stupid. That was like the best thing that Doom had. And if you made that a psychic power where once in every 3 or 4 games you might get it, and it's that yes power, that should have been it. They should have allowed that. And then number 6 is the Warp Blast. It's the shooting attack. You have 2 different shooting profiles, kind of like what the Zoanthorpes had last time. 24 inches, strength 5, AP 3 blast, so that's a Marine killer. And then 18 inches, strength 10, AP 2, assault 1 lance, which was the same as the last time. So those are the psychic abilities. Besides the Synapse is going to be helpful mainly because they made the problem worse. Feel no pain is always good. Pinning -2, not so good. Running and shooting. Most of your shooting attacks suck anyways. Weapon skill, ballistic skill. It wouldn't be horrible to have it, but there's other things. Psychic Scream, the crappy Doom and Malantine might still be good, but you got to be within 6 inches. And remember, no more drop pod to just immediately drop in and go. You have to walk across the board at 6 inches at a pop and get within 6 inches. By that time, you'll probably be shot up, or you'll be assaulting. Why would you be within 6 inches and not assault? So that's a bummer. So next one, we're going to go on to HQs, and we're going to kind of burn through these a little faster. Those are just my overall thoughts of the rulebook, scanning through. I'm sure there's a couple other things. I didn't get into the point values or any of the traits or toughness values just yet because I just got it. So, all right, so we're going to HQs next.